Studio released the April patch this week, and despite a little bit of a rough start with some problems that were hotfixed immediately, we have a whole lot of new features to look at in the 3D sculpture tool and some extra added little features in the rest of Studio. So let's take a look. So the very first bit of news is the 3D sculpture tool is now out of beta and available to the public. So if you go to File, Import, and Import 3D Model, you can now access that. While we're talking about that, I will show you the new features in the 3D sculpture tool. First off, they raised the base size to 128 from 64, which means if you are using a y-axis orientation now, you will get much better definition than you did before. And obviously it lets you create a much taller model if you're using the x-axis orientation or you have a big model like the Statue of Liberty that they showed before. They fixed some small issues up, like the 1x1s causing an error to happen. They also put in the minus X, Y, and Z option, so now you can flip your model. For instance, in the first video I showed of the 3D tool, when I used the X-axis, the anti-studs were pointing up. Now you can flip that around so that your anti-studs are pointing down, or whichever way you want to incorporate that. The next thing they added is very cool, that they put in a allocate step per layer. So this will allow you to import that 3D model, and as it's importing, it will create the steps for you. This is going to save a vast amount of time for users of this tool. And the last thing they did was allow the whole model to be imported as a submodel. I had mentioned again in that 3D sculpture tool video that to move the model around, it should be put in a submodel first. So this takes care of that step for you. So let's go and import this now, and watch on the right hand side and you can see those steps being made as the model gets imported. It's pretty cool. So this was a pretty big model, and it took only a few seconds on my machine to render it out. And there we go. It's in its submodel, and it has its own group as you would expect. And all the steps are done for it. So there we go. A fantastic addition to the 3D sculpture tool. The 3D tool as well now can handle the STL file format. The next thing that they added was for the render engine. A few people had been requesting that they be allowed to put in their own settings for the background and light and the camera setup. So that is available now. Again, this is a great little time saver tool where you don't have to keep remembering what your settings were every time you go do a render. Now you can just upload your settings that you have listed. As well, in the preview window before, it was independent of the viewport. Now if you move the object around in the render preview window and X out of it, you will see that your model has also moved. Show you that again. And our T-Rex has moved again. In the instruction maker now, they made a change to the scale bar. This was a problem because when you would go out of the instruction maker and come back in, the slider bar would always be in the middle despite what percentage you had in the text box. So now that scale bar and that percentage is linked. They also fixed one of the issues they experienced when exporting to a Collada format. Now they have fixed that problem. Let's take a quick peek at the new parts that were available from this update. We have some nice printed base plates, a couple of variants of bikes, a new rounded dome piece, this part with the angular extension on it, a couple of new prints, and a hinge. I believe there were more parts in the initial update, but because of the hotfix, I think some of them might not be appearing in my new parts list. There were 48 new parts released in all. So that's a quick look at the April patch. If you found any other changes that have snuck in, please leave them in the comments below. As always, I hope this video has helped you out. If it has, please take the time to like and subscribe and share it around so that others can benefit from it. Thanks so much. Have a fantastic day. Keep dreaming of bricks. Bye-bye.